The Alliance for Equality of Blind Canadians is pleased to bring you training on a variety of assistive technologies. Please like and subscribe.
So thank you everybody for joining me on this trip through an introduction to podcasts. And if everybody could mute, that would be great. If you're not already muted, that would be perfect. So podcasts, what are they? Well, it's like being in, I kind of think of them as old radio shows because they are of all different genres, all different types. Some of them have music, some of them are just two talking heads or three talking heads, and they will talk about just about anything. There are probably podcasts out there on every topic that you can probably shake a stick at. And they keep coming. There are new ones probably every day or every month. Some of them are, discussing. Some of them are news related. Some of them are entertainment related. Uh, Accessible Media has a bunch of them. AEBC has one now called AEBC Audio, and right now we're using it to focus on our blog and put some audio versions of our blog entries out there. But who knows? It can turn into anything. Once it's out there, we can do whatever we want with it. And podcasts can be 15 minutes long. Apple Viz has a podcast, and some of theirs are, some of theirs are an hour and some of them are 10 minutes. Some other podcasts I can think of that are blindness related, there's ICI, which is David Woodbridge's podcast on everything tech. Um, a lot of shows that are on the air, a lot of even radio shows that are on the air daily have podcasts. The sports stations often will have podcasts of their various, I don't know if you want to call announcers, DJs, whatever you want to call them, radio personalities. So there are podcasts to deal with just about anything. And you can search in any podcast app for either the name of the show or even just what it is. Like what topic are you looking for? And it'll come back with a collection that you can then choose from. And as far as how to get them, there are separate devices like the Victor Stream, that the Stream 3 and I think the Stream 2, you can get podcasts. The iPhone has Apple Podcasts. There are also other apps for the iPhone: Downcast, Overcast, Castro. I just read about another one and I can't remember what it was called, but there are just tons of them. And then Spotify, which is also known for its music stuff, but they also host podcasts. And so you can listen to podcasts through Spotify. Some podcasts are posted on YouTube as well. So you can search YouTube for and find some of the podcasts that have been posted there. They are just everywhere. There is always a way to find them. Uh, I would say most of them also have a web presence, so you can go to Google and search for the name of a podcast, and you'll find its host, and you can listen to it on your PC or on your Mac through a website. Most podcasts, there has to be a host, and so they start there. Oh, another one to check out is Triple Vision, which is which is basically run by AEBC members, even though it's not an AEBC podcast. But I think everybody who is on that, who is in their team is an AEBC member pretty much. And they have a website. So like I said, you can find them where however you want to listen, you can find them. And before we go anywhere further, I think I'd like to ask if there are any questions. And I've got to say before that I follow a whole bunch of them, so you can follow these podcasts or subscribe to them. It depends which app you're using, what the word is, but it's basically the same. You can put it into your library and then you can check out easily whether they have a new episode, and depending on how your notifications are set, you can be notified when a new episode comes out. So let's see if we can answer a few questions, if there are any. And I'm going to suggest that we try just having people say their name. We'll try not to do raise hands. We'll try and see if we can keep it. Oh, okay. Penny, I just hear your hand lowered, so you're first. Thank you, Mac, for not telling me when her hand went up. So, Penny,
is it muted?
what question? Sorry, Penny, did you ask? Did I miss it?
It doesn't want to unmute.
No, you're unmuted now.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now.
You are. You
Yeah.
are.
There's some podcast hosts that are more accessible in terms of getting to what you want to get and searching. Are there some that are better for people who are using screen readers?
So Apple Podcasts, so the podcast app that is native to your iPhone, is very accessible. It works very well with VoiceOver. It may not be the cleanest, but it is definitely accessible. At some point, we're going to figure out how Ryan can explain. He likes Overcast, which is another one. I've checked out Overcast and I've checked out Downcast, and I don't know, I just went back to Apple Podcast because I had started there. But they are both accessible. Anyone else?
I really found I used it a lot as I was losing my sight. Spotify was very clean to use. And
Apple has an app for Spotify, so you can get that on your iPhone. They also have a Windows program as well. So yeah, it depends. Like I said, it depends what you're used to. If you use Spotify for music already, then you're right, and you know that app, then you can search for podcasts there as well. So it just depends on what you're used to.
I was just going to comment that there are also a lot of training podcasts available for assistive technology. PTJ has one, Vispero has one, to name a few. What I may try and do is collect some of them up and do a list in AEBC Connect, which might help people find some. It won't be exhaustive because I don't use a lot of them. I have them, but I don't always listen to them, but I know they're very good ones.
Don't forget AppleVis, because AppleVis has tons of them.
You're
absolutely
right.
Tons.
Yeah, they're excellent. In fact, I've highlighted those before in the tech part of AEBC Connect.
Like I said, they're everywhere. They are like anything you can think of. There is probably a podcast for it. Um, my library has tons of different things. There are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of disability related podcasts, not just blindness, but other disabilities. And well, if you'd like me to do a demo of Apple Podcasts, I can do that, and we can we can look through my list. My library has just tons of them. So, do we have any other questions about podcasts in general?
Well, when you just mentioned your library, does that mean that when you download a podcast, it goes to your library and it stays there?
It depends whether you download it or not. If you just stream it, then if you follow the podcasts, those are the ones that end up in your library. So
Okay.
it's like Apple Music, or it's like any other, like a bookshelf. It's called the library, and that's where all the podcasts that you follow, where they live. And so you can flick from one from one show to another, or from one new episode to another new episode in another podcast. So there are different ways to sort your library depending on what you want to listen to or what you're looking for. Um, a lot of the podcasts keep all of their episodes. So you can go to, say, you could start now, find a podcast that may have been around for years, and it may or may not still have all the past episodes. And so you can play them on demand. So you can just go through and say, oh, that sounds interesting, because they'll give a little blurb as to what that show is about, that particular episode. Um, you can go through the podcasts. Another one that I forgot to mention is AT Banter, which is Ryan Fleury and Steve Barkley and Rob, whose last name escapes me. The three of them do that podcast. Uh, there are honestly everything you can think of, and then every episode usually has enough of a blurb that you can figure out, oh, does that interest me? No, it doesn't. And so what happens to me is that I'll hear about a podcast and I'll think, oh, that sounds interesting. And I'll want to listen to one episode, and I'll decide, okay, I might as well follow it because it might get interesting after that. And then sometimes I never go back to that particular podcast, but it sits in my library. And if I want to, I can go and find it easily rather than having to search for it again. And you can have tons of podcasts in your library. I don't know if there's a limit. I haven't reached it yet. Not reached it yet. Any more complete, basic questions? I can always, if you think of something along the way, we can always just deal with it when you come up with it. I would rather it be interactive, so whenever, But let's see how we can do with Apple Podcast. And I just need to.
While you're doing that, Marcy, I was just going to comment that you can find all these different apps like Overcast and Downcast and all the ones except for Apple Podcasts, which the iDevices have. And I'm not sure which ones Android has, but you find those at the App Store or the Google Play Store to download those apps to your device in order to add things and follow them and add them to your library.
Okay, so welcome to Apple Podcasts, which is the native podcatcher, and that's what they call these apps, podcatchers. Uh, that is on your iPhone from the start. So it's one of the apps that gets installed right when you upgrade to a new iOS version. When you get a new iPhone, it's there. It's one of the native apps. And like every or most apps, it has tabs at the bottom of the screen that change what's on the screen. And in podcasts, the tabs are now home, new, library, and search. So those are the 4 tabs on the bottom, and it will always open to home, which is where we are now. And on your home screen is basically a collection of things which may or may not help. Some are podcasts that you might like, that it thinks you might like. Like every other app, it decides what it tries to decide from what's in your library what it should show you. And so on my home screen,
Heading.
as at the top it says home, and then I'm just going to flick for a bit.
Account settings button.
So that's where I would change how I want podcasts to act, whether I want them to download right away, whether I want to know about them, whether I want them to stay in my library, just anything to do with settings on my account for podcasts.
Up next button. Heading.
So up next is whatever I was playing last. It's going to decide what's up next, but God only knows what it's going to be.
iBytes podcast followed. EBP028. Winding down from Techtember. Today on iBytes, Daniel and Sajandeep talk about Apple's jaw-dropping event. Apple releases new updates. Meta's Connect event. Organizing your grocery list with the Bring app. Nova Launcher is gone bang. Have questions or feedback? You can email us at ibytespodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on X at ibytespodcast. Check us out on YouTube at ibytes. Actions available. iBytes.
So
Podcast.
remember I said that usually a podcast episode will tell you what the episode is about, so that you don't have to listen to it if you don't like any of that. And it says that actions are available. This is one of the podcasts that I followed because I think I follow it. I think it said that I follow it because there was an episode that sounded interesting. But I don't think I've listened to it yet. But let's see what the actions are. So I'm just going to flick down.
Play. Remaining time. 1 hour, 12 minutes.
Okay, remember I said podcasts can be any length. This one's 1 hour and 12 minutes.
More.
And there's a more.
Explore image.
There's an explore image.
Activate.
And there's
Default.
an activate, which is probably going to take me to that episode's page and let me read more about it. But I can also play it right from there. And the more,
Explore it
let's just
more.
go there just to see what's
Download
there.
button.
So I can download it.
Save button.
I can save it.
Share button.
I can share it with someone else, so that would send a link to that particular episode, and the regular share sheet would come up, so I could send it via messages or via mail, if I wanted someone else to know about this podcast.
Play next button.
I can play the next episode.
Mark as played
I
button.
can mark it as played.
View transcript button.
If there's a transcript, I can view the transcript of the podcast. And that's becoming more often that there are transcripts. right?
Go to episode button.
I can go to the episode, so that would take me to the episodes page.
Go to
You
show
know, that
button.
that's really good for me to pass on to the deafblind communities here, because you know, the episode being able to,
Mhm.
Yeah, you can
if
go
it's
to, there are transcripts now.
Mhm.
Don't ask me how good they are. Some are going to be better than others, because some are going to be AI generated and some may be human generated. I don't know. I don't plan. I haven't honestly checked them out,
yeah,
but they exist.
yeah. Well, just
Report
knowing
concern.
exists, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, you can report a concern. So that might go to Apple or it might go to the developer of the podcast. Not sure. Never used it.
Removed from up next
Ah,
button.
you can remove it from up next. So that particular episode won't play.
Dismiss context
And
menu.
you can
button.
dismiss the context menu. So we'll do that.
Home heading.
So we're back at
Account
home. Okay,
settings.
so
up
we've
next,
got
button. iBytes.
iBytes,
Reflections.
reflections.
ABC audio.
No,
new,
there's
middle
our
dot,
ADO,
talking
AEBC
flicks,
audio. So it's going to show me a bunch of it looks like it's showing me a bunch of my podcasts that I have followed on the home screen, so I don't have to go anywhere to find them. But usually you're going to want to go to your library because you're going to want to go to a specific show or a specific episode. So the new, I'm assuming, is going to show brand new podcasts that I might be interested in. But library is where
tab
you're
bar. Search,
probably
tab,
going to
library,
live.
Tab 3 of 4.
Okay, so we're going to go to library.
Library heading.
And I'm just going to flick across and you'll see what your choices are as to how to sort your library.
More dimmed button. Account settings button. Latest episodes button. Channels button. Categories button. Saved button. Shows button. Downloaded button. Recently updated heading.
Okay, and then recently updated is a heading, which means it's going to show me which shows have new episodes. And it's going to show me the episodes that they have. Shows is the actual, that's where you would go if you want to see all the different podcasts you follow. Downloaded is if you've downloaded episodes, and please don't ask me what the difference between saved and downloaded is because I have been trying to figure that out for years and I still don't know. But they are two categories, and honestly, downloaded, they end up on your phone, on your device, somewhere. But you can't, the only way you can access them is through the podcast app. Some apps they allow you to get at the actual files, but Apple does not. Shows is where you would go.
Downloaded
So let's
shows
go
button.
there.
Selected. Followed button. 1 of 2.
Okay, so followed are the shows that you have quote unquote followed or subscribed to. So these are shows that you want to keep track of. And you might want to go and look at all their episodes, or you might be waiting for a specific episode. But and then the next one is all podcasts, and that'll bring in anything and everything that you might have looked at in the past.
All button. 2 of 2.
So here are my shows.
Reflections 2 hours ago. Middle dot 4 new button.
So it'll
Actions
tell.
available. Reflections.
Oh,
M.
it's going to tell. Okay, so Reflections is the latest one that I followed, and the newest episode was 2 hours ago. Was posted.
ABC audio 5 day ago. Middle dot 2 new button. Talking flicks followed August 17th button. iBytes podcast Follow June 27th button. Tech Talk followed February 16th button.
So these are all the
Actions available.
and all these shows I can play them, I can go to the latest episode, I can probably unfollow them if if I've decided that I don't want to be to have anything to do with them the fourth tab, which is search, is literally, it gives you a search field, probably at the bottom again, because that seems to be with iOS 26, that all the search fields end up at the bottom. Let me just figure out if that's the case.
Tab bar.
So I need to go,
Search
there
tab
we go.
4 of selected. Search dictate button.
Yeah, there's the
Play
dictate,
button.
and let's
September
see.
2nd.
Where
Go
is...
forward 60 seconds. Search. Heading. Account setting. Top charts. Horror and supernatural.
Okay, so when you go to the search field, the search page, you can decide, ooh, I want to go see horror podcasts. No thanks.
September 2nd.
But the actual search button
Tab, Apple Pod Dictate button, Apple Podcasts, search field.
is at the very bottom again. So it has moved. The dictate is the far right corner if you want to dictate. Otherwise, you would double tap on that Apple Podcast edit field to open it up, and then you could either type or dictate or use a keyboard or whatever. When you search, be as specific as possible, because there are so many podcasts out there that have similar names, so that the closer you can get, the better. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for quite a while. You can also, there is a way to put if someone sends you a web link for a podcast, so the RSS feed, so the link that would take you to that podcast's actual hosting site, you can put that website in that URL in there, and it will search for that podcast and find it as well. So you can search various ways to find the podcast you want. And then you can download them or you can stream them. So you can just sit in your house and listen to podcasts all day if you want. There are just tons and tons of them. And they all, the different apps, I mean, I used Overcast and Downcast for a bit, and they all have the same idea of the things that you can do with them. So you can subscribe to podcasts, you can search for podcasts, they will have their own library set up, and then they will have different options. Every app is different, as we all know. If you think of GPS apps or reading apps, they're all different. And it's just, you find the one that works for you, that is the most comfortable for you. And that, that's basically, that's podcasting. It's an amazing creation. Like I said, it sort of makes me think of old radio shows, because they have been saved from way back when. And now you've got these podcasts that going forward are being saved. And you can go back on demand and listen to episodes from a few years back if the podcasting company or group has saved all of their episodes. And it's fascinating. It really is. It's the new world of how to get information and entertainment, because it's definitely on demand. I mean, you can listen to a podcast that came out 3 weeks ago. You can listen to it today, and it's the same as it was 3 weeks ago, and you you can do it on your time. That's the amazing thing about podcasts, is that it's information that you can retrieve at your leisure when it suits you, which is yeah, it's a totally different. It's part of that whole on demand thing that we've become used to with Netflix and and those kinds of streaming services, and podcasts do the same thing. So, questions, anybody? Anyone? I heard some people unmuting at some point.
I will be a brat and ask if you can. I don't mean to be a brat, but I think people might be thinking, can you show if you searched for a podcast,
Sure.
find one, and then
Library
add it to
collapsed.
your
Yes.
library?
Apple
Sure.
Podcasts. Search field.
Okay.
Search field. Search field is editing. Apple Podcast.
Okay. How about I'm trying to think of one that I'm not subscribed to that well, let's look for how about the word movie? Let's see what happens if I just search for the word movie, and we'll just pick one. Movie.
Clear text button. Close button. Tab bar. Library.
Okay,
Collapse selected.
so-
Apple Podcast Library. The movies that made me.
The movies that made me. Well, that sounds interesting. Oh,
Movie crush.
movie crush.
Movies that raised us.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Let's go to that one. Movies that raised us.
Movies that raised us. Movies that raised us. 60 ago. Middle dot. 1 hour 32 minutes. Middle dot. Negative squared Latin. Movies that raised us. Movies that raised us. 2021. 09. 29. Middle dot. 1 hour.
Okay, so it's got
Movies that raised us.
multiple
September tab.
episodes.
Library. Tab selected. Search. Search.
Okay.
Back button.
All right.
Share, but more, but September 11th, 2024, negative squared Latin capital letter E.
Oh, yes.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, heading,
Oh,
podcast artwork, movies that raised us, image, movies that raised us, button, play, remaining time, 1 hour, 48 minutes, button,
wow. Okay.
That's a long
download,
one.
button.
Yeah.
Save episode off button. Welcome to Back to School September. Back by Pocket.
Okay, so it's going to babble about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
September
So let's
11
go
more
back.
button.
Okay, there's a more, which is
Share,
right at the
but
top.
more button.
And I'm going to
Download.
assume that the follow is
Dismiss
there.
context.
So let's
Dismiss
see.
report of concern. Go to show, but view transcript. Mark as played. Play next, but follow show button.
Oh, yep.
So I'm
Follow
just going
show.
to do that.
Search. Search.
And there.
Back button.
Okay, so then I'm going to get out of the search.
September 11th. More share. Search. Back button. Movies that raised us. 2024.
And I'm
Movies that
gonna-
raised us. Search field.
And I'm going to
Movies
close.
Movie clear text. Close. Button.
So I'm going to close the search.
Search. Heading.
And I'm going to go back to my library and show you that that show is now part of it.
Apple Podcasts. Tab bar. Tab bar. Library. Collapse. Shows. Button.
And we're going to
Tab bar. More. Accounts. Latest channels. Category. Saved. Shows. Button.
go to
Select.
shows.
Selected. Followed. Button. All. Button. Movies that raised us.
There we go.
Followed today. Explicit. Button. Actions available. Movies that KA.
Okay, so that's The simplest, honestly, it is once you get to the show that you want or an episode of the show that you want, there is a more button at the top and you just double tap on it, and one of the items on that little menu that comes up will be follow. And like I said, it could be called subscribe. It used to be subscribe. And they used to say subscribe to podcasts, and now they say follow podcasts. So whatever, it's the same thing. And now I've got this crazy podcast that I'm really curious about. So I can now check out all of the episodes on that podcast, and see whether, well, I think I've got to go see what they say about Ferris Bueller. You know, I'm almost wondering if they're actually running the movie, because an hour and 48 minutes, that seems to be about how long that movie was. So who knows what it is? It could be just the audio version of the movie, which would be rather interesting. But that's
What if you start playing that particular podcast then?
okay. I can do that. And when you start playing a podcast, if you stop it in the middle, when you come back, it will resume where you left off. So it's like an audiobook, like on Audible. When you start a podcast episode, and you could come back 20 minutes later or 20 days later to that episode, and it will remember where you are. So
Movies that raised us. Follow today, explicit button.
so we'll double tap on
Artwork,
that, and
movies,
then we
movies,
will
moving,
go.
latest episode button.
Let's see what the latest episode is.
Playing, remaining time. Shows, back button.
Train out of there. The haunted train. Oh my god, guys, do you hear a train? I don't even live near a train. Oh my god, it's the Pretty Little Liars ghost train. It's coming to pick you up.
Okay.
Download, but tab bar, selected, new, home, go forwards, pause, button, play.
So at the bottom of the screen, when you start a podcast playing, and even if you're not starting a podcast playing, there's this little mini player that has a rewind and a pause play and a forward. And in settings, I believe you can set how much forward and backward it does. Mine is set to 60 seconds, and I can't remember when I did that, or if if it's the default. But I've just paused it, and if I start it again, but now I think I've figured this out. So this is two women who are going to talk all the way through a movie. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm gonna like that. But that. Now I may be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. So you never know what it's gonna be when you find a podcast and you start it. It could be anything. It could be two people talking. It could be one person. It could be. And sometimes you can figure that out if you read what's on their show page. And sometimes and sometimes it's a surprise. and that's the thing about podcasts, is that they can be as creative as the people who make them. And so some of them are really, really creative, and some of them you start listening and you think, no, not interested in that. And sometimes it's the personalities of the people. Sometimes you can just wonder where they're coming from. But honestly, like I said, anything you can think of, there's probably a podcast about it. If anyone likes the show Outlander, there have got to be about probably a dozen or 24 podcasts that deal with Outlander in various ways. So whatever your little heart desires, there's a podcast for that. It's almost like,
If
Uh,
you didn't know, or if you want, you could have played that episode or an episode from that search as well. If you didn't want to bother to add it right until
Yeah.
you knew whether you liked it, because there
Yes.
was a play button there too.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
play them. You don't have to follow them. You
Yeah.
you can just pick an episode if someone's
button. Mute my audio button.
whoever's playing with their iPhone.
Active displaying
Please
mark.
don't.
Okay button.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Remember,
I had a call earlier. Did that come through?
no,
Good.
No.
no, but you are now. So yes, you can play if you search for something. You can just play whatever you find. You don't need to follow it, and you don't have to come back to it. No one really cares. You can just play it and then be done and never think about it again. Which is really nice because sometimes that's all you want to do. So someone will tell you about a podcast episode, or you'll hear about one somewhere, you'll read about one, and you go and listen to it and you realize, okay, that was interesting, but I don't think I want to listen to any more of that. And so you just forget about it and you don't have to follow it.
Hilton's iPad 2017.
But
Left.
but you won't it won't pick up from where you left off if you don't save it or follow it. Is
Yes,
that
it
right?
will.
will?
Yes, it will. If you start listening to a podcast and then you come back to it later, it will pick up where you left off.
Even though you didn't save it or follow
Yeah,
it.
because there is something that keeps bookmarks somewhere. I'm pretty sure that regardless of whether it's in your library or not, and someone can tell me if I'm wrong. I have never tested this, but I'm almost guessing it would probably remember where you were.
So my question then is, if you close the app switcher and close out Apple Podcasts, if you came back in, would it recognize where you were the last episode you were listening, or do you have to start over?
Yes, it probably would, and we can test that. So we left it on that movies that raised us or made us. But we
But
will.
you followed it though.
Podcasts active.
Yes, I did, but
So that's not the same.
no, but she wants to know if it would remember where I was in an episode, if it would open to that episode. So we'll test that.
Close podcasts.
Bye-bye
Setting app switcher.
podcast.
Settings. Current action.
Okay.
Close settings.
Yeah.
Active.
All right.
Settings.
We're not going to play with Siri because my
Dock.
Mac
Safari.
is
Phone.
likely
One page, one
to
of page. Dropbox.
do something crazy.
Extras. Podcasts. Podcasts. Home. Home. Head tab bar. Live new tab selected. Go forward 60-second play button.
All right, I'm going to hit play and we're going to see if we end up back with those two women and their weird movie.
Pause. Home. Heading.
Hello. Welcome to the end of Spooktober. Yeah, this is our last Spooktober recording. I just feel like it really flew by.
Home. Tab bar. New. Select. Go. Pause. Button. Play.
Well, that answers that question. We wanted to know whether if you search for something and you don't follow it, whether it would remember where you were.
Movies that raised us.
Let's
Up
see.
next.
What have we
Button.
got?
Account. Move. iBites. Pod. Reflections.
Okay,
ABC
those are all
Audio.
stuff
Talking
that I
Flicks. The
have.
Disability. Tech Talk. New.
All right,
Middle
let's-
dot. Tab bar. New. Live. Search. Tab. 4. Selected. Search. Dictate. Apple Podcasts. Search field.
All right, let's
Top
just.
charts. Horror and supernatural. Arts. Button.
Okay, arts.
Tab bar. Select favorite. Add favorite category. Mini Play Monster. October 29th. Monster House.
Monster House. Okay. Let's just make sure I know how to spell that.
MONSTER space
Okay, Monster House. Why not?
Monster House.
This is something I am not going to be following.
October
For
29th. Play button.
Okay.
Pause.
Joy. The Halloween spirit. Same. I'm cramming it all into these last couple days.
All right, that's the same thing that we just heard. That's
Favorite.
not.
News button.
All right, let's go back.
History. Vertical scroll bar. Favorite. Mini Monster House. October 29th. Play, but go forward 60 seconds.
Okay, that Monster House is from God knows where.
Button. Arts, back button. Favorite, more, button.
All right, we've got something happening in the background there.
History, heading. Creators we love. A feminist in French. Creators we love. Hilarious retellings of history's darkest and strangest in French. Creator show context menu. Explore image. Show context menu.
OK button.
Share button.
Okay, whoever's iPhone is playing, please mute yourself. Thank you.
Video button.
Preview. Creators we love.
All right.
See.
So.
My audio button.
Share.
All right.
Dismiss context menu button.
Okay, I'm going to wait until that person has muted. Great. All right, so we want to find it something that we can test whether it will do a bookmark even if it's not a followed.
Preview. Creators we love. A feminist approach to history.
Oh, let's try that.
Back button. Follow, but more. Live out. The most entertaining. Latest episode. Playing. Remaining time. 46 minutes.
Speaking from the future, if you are keen to support this podcast, if you are enjoying the episodes as you find them and you want to listen ad-free, check out the Oracle edition on Patreon. It didn't exist way back when these early episodes were recorded, but I'm telling you about it now. You can get all 7...
Okay, so that's an interesting voice that really sounds like someone we should know. It does.
The most entertaining and more. 4 points. 80. Try free. Button. Episodes. Button. 16 hours ago. Negative squared Latin. Play. Remaining time. 47 minutes. Live Read Stadia.
All right, so I'm just going to leave that there and I'm going to close this and we'll see whether it brings it back to us.
App Switcher. Podcasts. Close podcasts. Setting. App Switcher. Activate. Default. Teams.
All right.
Clubhouse. Meet. Skype. Team. Web. Zoom. Rec. Drop. File. Podcasts. Podcasts. Home. Let's talk about myths. Up next. Account settings. Up next. Button. Heading.
Okay, let's see what happens if I hit the play button at the bottom.
Bar. New. Selected. Home. Go forward 60. Play. Button. Pause.
100 and counting
Home.
episodes
Heading.
of Let's Talk About Myths, baby, ad-free, along with so much...
That's the same woman, so... If you were searching for something and you found something you liked and you accidentally closed it, it's going to pick up the last episode you were listening to. So there you go.
Marcy?
Yes.
I believe Spotify does that for sure as well. Because sometimes I've tried to get out of it thinking, why can't I just go to what I want to listen to? But I listened to that last month. I don't want to hear it anymore. And the other comment I was going to make is some podcast producers, what I really like, I'm thinking of AT Banter, and there are a few others that I've come across, they number their podcasts.
Yes.
So if you're looking for something specific, you might want to note, podcast number 47 was the one that I wanted to listen to again. Then you can kind of search that way and it makes it easier.
And some of them will have actual seasons. I can't remember what podcast I have, but they did it in seasons. So they'll do a run of, say, 20 episodes or 12 episodes, and then they'll call it season 1, and then they'll have season 2, and then so that they sort of separate the episodes into little chunks so that it's easier to look things up, and then you'll read the list of seasons, and then you pick one. So I think that's about it, unless there are any more questions. It's a very creative space. It can be incredibly creative and incredibly informative, and it's the new way to go for news.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question, just for curiosity. Has anybody ever found recipe podcasts?
Oh, there are tons of those too. I'm sure there are.
I figured there must be. I just never gone looking.
Well, just search for cooking or search for a recipe. Try different search words, and I tried movies, and my God, we could go crazy on them. So you never know. Like I said, there's a podcast for just about anything, I think, these days. And the other thing is that some of them will be done very well, and some of them will be very rudimentary, very basic. So you get all levels of technical prowess and all levels of informative, topics and everything in between. So thank you for joining us, and I'm just going to close this.
Thank you for checking out our content. To learn more about the Alliance for Equality of Blind Canadians, please visit www.blindcanadians.ca. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe.